Come on over, it's time for Tim Friend. And welcome back to Tim Friend. I'm the erstwhile host. What does erstwhile mean? I see it in context a lot, but I don't actually know what it means. But whatever, I'm your erstwhile host, so deal with it. It can mean whatever I want. That's how language works, right? Right, guys? Right? Tell me I'm right. We're gonna be moving. It looks like we got a sort of respite. No reinforcements spawned last turn, which is interesting. But we're gonna start moving Hector and Lynn down to the rear. Astern? Yeah, the stern. That's a nautical term on describing a part of a boat. We're gonna move them down here, just to deal with the incoming reinforcement threat from our boat's rear. And maybe, fuck, what's the point? We have a defend chapter right now, but then there's no reinforcements, so what's the fucking point of having those two turns if nothing's gonna happen on them? I don't like that. Maybe I somehow hit like a weird scripting trigger and disabled the reinforcements, but that's bad design, if that's the truth. So I'm kind of miffed. There we go, move around to the enemy ship's stern. I was right. That's where they should be waiting, that's where they'll die. Alright, dramatic. So yeah, like I said, it's a little bit of physical, a little bit of magical. And like there's no reinforcements on the sides. What the fuck? This is not very difficult, you guys. Come on, intelligent systems. Where's the intelligent system? Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't very good. I'll do better next time. Maybe, probably not though. Alright, we're gonna keep trying to use Raven over here. Might have to use the Steel Sword. Ah, that doesn't quite do it. Maybe the stats are randomized better. Yeah! So I've talked before about how sometimes the enemy's stats vary slightly. And this is one of those cases where that works out in my favor. It says where one mercenary was unable to be killed in one round by Raven, the other was, just because his stats randomly were slightly lower than his comrade. Raven's getting a lot of strength and no speed, which is the opposite of what he got in a previous playthrough of mine, which is a little silly, a little jokey, a little happy for me. I do like him having strength, but speed is very important, and I want him to have enough so that he can double attack enemies, and if he doesn't get that, then I'm going to be a sad panda indeed. We'll have Hector move down, and I don't know, can Lynn kill this shaman by herself? If she uses the steel sword, yes. But then Hector can't really kill this mercenary, and definitely can't kill him reliably. But we do want more experience on Lynn, because Hector got quite enough thank you in some of the last missions. Maybe the shaman will miss? If he does hit, it doesn't matter. It's only a third of her health. I mean, which is still kind of a lot in the game with permadeath, but I don't know. Lynn gets a level. Maybe she'll get some fucking strength. And no. More bulk, though, in defense and luck, which we'll take, I guess. We're still going to be a little frowny about it next time on Tim Friend. No, we're going to be frowny on it for the rest of probably the entire game. Who can kill this mercenary? He's quite the difficult nut to crack. Maybe if Sane comes in with the javelin, or just with the steel lance. Holy shit, Sane. That's pretty incredible. We do want Kent to get the experience though, so if we had Kent and Sane come down and kill that mercenary, can Florina kill this Myrmidon? Yes! Only with, with the slim lance. That does put her right next to Lynn though, and we already don't like that, because I think we already got a fucking C support with Florina and Lynn, which was a bummer, because I would have liked to have made the, what's it called? The Lynn and Kent B support with the Hector and Lynn A support. But whatever, that's couldn't quite do it in this playthrough. Maybe we'll get to it in another playthrough if we do another playthrough. I'm thinking after we do this Hector Normal Run Iron Man, I might make an account on some Fire Emblem forum and do a pick my unit for the like a little almost draft for a Hector Hard Mode run. It'll be my first time playing in Hector Hard Mode, or at least it would be my first time beating it, because I would beat it and I wouldn't give up in frustration as I've done in the past. Good job, Sane. Good old reliable Sane. That secret book. Oh, gross. That secret book helped out for him because he's an inaccurate son of a bitch. But I would like to do the Hector hard mode with a pick my unit picked from some Fire Emblem community, because Fire Emblem communities I've seen, or at least the one that I lurk on, is really cool. I like it. Maybe it's just I'm a little starstruck, but whatever. That happens sometimes. It's legitimate. It's legitimately nerdy. Oh, boring. All right. So that's all the fucking enemies? Okay. Wow. Pegasus Knights. Holy shit. I mean, that's not super scary. We've dealt with Pegasus Knights before very easily, but that is a lot of them. So we're gonna retreat so they can't catch us off guard. Even though I guess they sort of just did. But whatever. We're gonna get the. Jesus Christ, these levels have been atrocious. Hopefully that luck does not carry through the entire session. We've got these Pegasus Knights that can come up and conceivably hit us this turn. This one can also... it's sort of in an awkward position, but if we put Oswin here... God, I forgot he didn't have the Iron Lance anymore, but Sane's got extra lances, right? Yeah, he doesn't need all of them. So we'll give him the Iron Lance, trade out for that long sword. Put Oswin... where is it? Second space? Second space. Put him here, give him an Iron Lance. I know I talked about not doing the fucking play-by-play, but sometimes I have to talk out what I'm thinking and Tiny's burp. Talk out what I'm thinking and just sort of figure it out for myself, you know? I can't just autopilot this entire playthrough because it's difficult. This game is it's a game that requires thought, and I think those are the kind of games that I gravitate towards, ones that let you sort of think things through, lets you figure it out. You know, it's almost like a puzzle. It's a strategy game, but it's almost like a puzzle game in its way. And I guess Fire Emblem could conceivably be called a puzzle game, even though it also has like various RNG aspects to it, like the level up growth system can screw you theoretically. It's never screwed me to that point before. I mean, technically, even when I played and used Marcus almost exclusively, I probably could have beaten the game if I really tried. But it would have taken a lot of strategy in like the second to last chapter, and strategy that I probably wasn't capable of as a young person. Oh, good. Raven's, well, I mean, Pegasus Knights are fairly jokes anyways, but Raven's getting some work done. But yeah, it's sort of, strategy games against computers are almost puzzle games. It's like as soon as you can figure out how the computer is going to react in certain situations, then you can try to sort of gamify it, I guess. Not gamify is the wrong term, but you can solve it, essentially. And there are people who've... That was a fantastic level for Kent. That restores my hope in cavalier humanity. But like there are players who've played through these games with 0% growth, which means you're using just their base stats, any promotion bonuses they get when they promote, and just using the newly recruited characters to carry yourself through the entire game, which is pretty fucking impressive. But it also means that it's sort of a solved game in that way. Since you can do that, you don't need the RNG at all. Because theoretically a 0% growth run could happen, where every time you level up, nothing happens. But in a case like that, the game isn't unwinnable. You just have to be extremely fucking knowledgeable about how the AI works and how the game systems function. But you can do it, and I think that's really cool and sort of depressing, because it also means that I don't think I'm that good at Fire Emblem to be able to do like a no growth run myself. I mean, I guess if I had the time. I guess what it is not necessarily skill, it's that I don't have the fucking, not wherewithal, it's not the word I'm looking for. The patience, the diligence, the vigilance to really drill down into the game's AI and like the fucking dense numbers of the game and figure out exactly what I need to do some very specific things. Like what are the really hard enemies on each level that you need some fucking good people to go for? Like, how would you get around them? What are the best characters to use? What characters do you have to sacrifice in order to do damage? Hopefully, Osmond got just the Knight crit is pretty simple, but I think it's made up for in the class's animation. I really like the Knight's attack animation, how they sort of have the shield on their chest. I mentioned this when I was talking to Julia Friend, but that really tickled my dickle when I was a child, and just sort of having the shield as the chest plate, It was like, oh man, it doubles as a chest plate, and it's so cool. So I really like the knights. Kent is critting like crazy. Good job, Kent. I mean, Oswin crit as well. It was pretty fucking impressive. I like them. But yeah, I like the knights. This sort of solid wall of justice felt really cool to me. It still feels really cool to me. I still like it. So there's this boss here that normally I would fight, but I don't want to because he has a Luna tome, which is, it negates enemy resistance, which means it ignores your magical defensive stats when it attacks. It adds no damage to his magic power, but that means he's hitting at 12 damage every time. And it also has a crit chance of 20%. It means if you don't have good enough luck, then you might just fucking get crit and die. So like right now, even though Florina has she's gonna survive the counterattack, she has a 10% chance of just straight up dying if she gets hit. And that's not a chance I'm willing to take on an Iron Man run. I'm sorry, it's not. And I know it's not very exciting, but there's probably gonna be a lot more conservative play in an Iron Man run than there is in maybe a typical Fire Emblem run, where you can sort of be daring because you know that you can just reset. But I know I can't reset because, smile, I'm on candid camera. That was a pretty dumb joke. I'm sorry about that, but not sorry enough to not do it again. Alright, we'll finish up this, no, we'll just fucking finish up this chapter right now. That was pretty easy on Hector Normal Mode. Maybe they replaced some of the reinforcements with the Pegasus Knights instead of just stapling on Pegasus Knights, sort of in addition to what they had before. But, that's, I don't think that was a very good way to do it, because these defend missions sort of rely on the enemy reinforcements being threatening, but and you sort of have to hold out against waves, but this was just sort of like 2 waves, and that's it. It was like the initial dudes, and then a wave of reinforcements from the left and right, and then, well, I guess then they had the bottom dudes, and then they had some dudes on the left or on the right, and then some Pegasus Knights, but it wasn't constant. We had quite a lot of downtime, and I don't like that in defend chapters. I think a really solid defend chapter has no downtime. You're always having to, well, I mean, I guess you sort of create downtime with checkpoints, but the really good ones, or not checkpoints, choke points. But the really good ones have multiple choke points and sort of non-choke points where it's 2 to 3 to 4 squares wide, so you sort of have to maintain a shifting wall of strong people. I'm in utter admiration. I love Hector. He's got some good lines in this one, but there's some revealing dialogue, and I don't know. There's some good shit I'm skipping over. You should play this game for yourself. I think it's like $10 or less if you have a Wii U, and if you don't, well, then you just come over to my house. We'll have a good time. Don't come over to my house unless I invite you, though. It's weird. Have you ever had someone do that? It's weird. Alright, thank you very much for ending this episode of Tim Friend on a strange note. Tim, you're welcome. Tim Friend.